What's up, everybody? Friday night with the bros. Nick and Ron here to talk some football with you guys. Ron,
What's up, y'all?
how's it going?
Oh, it's going great. Just another Friday, end of the week. Looking forward to some football talk and football this weekend.
Heck yeah. Just to let everyone know, we are live on Twitch right now. Bros and Beers, bros underscore N underscore beers. We do this every Friday night where we just sit and drink a couple beers and just chill and talk football.
Yeah.
Kind of a game plan for the night, though. So we're going to give you a quick Thursday night recap or maybe some takeaways. Before that, though, we're going to talk about what beer we're drinking for the night. And then we're going to get into our starts of the weeks, breakout player, and then a couple hot takes. Ron, start us off. What are you drinking?
So it's October. Found me an Oktoberfest from Lift Bridge.
Ooh.
It's a brewery that's like 5 minutes from my house, and this will be the first sip I have of it. I haven't tried it yet, so
All right, live review.
yeah.
Oh,
I love me some Oktoberfest.
J.L. Keeland, thank you for the follow.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, dude. I love that sound, by the way. Avengers, assemble! Quick question. Who are you? If you were an Avenger, who would you be?
Thank
I think I know the answer.
Definitely Tony Stark. I mean, come on, Iron Man.
I had a feeling. Because
He's smart. He's rich.
yeah,
Playboy, billionaire.
you can't go wrong with that. I gotta go, Mr. Steve Rogers,
Steve
the
Rogers.
Captain America. I almost wanted to pick Spider-Man because I like how witty, like especially in the comics, how witty he is. But all right, let's get to Thursday night.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, wait a minute, dude. Why do I always skip this? I always forget what the beer.
Yeah, you do.
I'll do it quick. I'm going with the basic beer. Michelob Golden Light. I have like 38 of these in my fridge, so might as well.
Michelob Golden Light. Oh.
I know. I'll be drinking more Surly later, but I figured get through a couple of these.
Well, cheers, bro.
Cheers,
Let's have a good night,
brother. Oh, and I suppose I should add, after all of this, we're going to be playing Madden on Twitch tonight as well. And we'll be playing for a while. But yeah, last night, the Rams defeated the Vikings 30-20 on a last-second safety, which should have been a penalty.
I saw a picture of that, and you can see the ref looking right at Sam Darnold as it's happening.
Well,
and I'm just like,
not to get into conspiracies, but apparently 80% of the bets in Vegas were put on the Vikings. So if the Vikings win that game, dude, the Vegas would have lost so much money.
Yeah, I mean they had a long way to go either way, but it would have been nice if we had a chance and not just
Crap the bed.
missing a call, getting a safety. Yeah, whatever.
I mean,
it is what it is.
It didn't lose us the game, but it doesn't help. It makes for some drama.
Yeah.
But
We're still 5-2. We're still 5-2. So whatever.
Oh, yeah, we're tied for first. Or no, we're only one game back at Detroit now. Who knows? They could lose this week against Tennessee.
True.
But I think the biggest takeaway we can start with is Puka, fire him up for a wide receiver one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Thor. Yeah, fire him up as a wide receiver one. And
Thor's pretty hot.
Yeah, we had somebody comment that the Avenger would be Thor. And he's the most powerful Avenger as far as the comics.
Right.
What is the next takeaway you can say about this game?
Well, kind of related to Puka, Matthew Stafford looks good. You know, Kupp was back as well. He scored a touchdown. He didn't look as effective as Puka did. I regrettably sat Puka in one of our leagues last night and then watched him eat against my team. So that kind of sucked. But yeah, man, Stafford got his two favorite weapons back, and Los Angeles looked good. Kyron Williams was getting fed again.
It
Just
could be a top five offense, like a lot of people were thinking at the beginning of the year,
yeah, I mean,
at least for
Stafford's
fantasy.
a Stafford's a great quarterback. Puka and Cup, you can't double one because then you leave the other one. And Puka was questionable on a short week coming into this one. He just got activated off IR, and he had like 6 for 107. And there was a lot of the times I think he was on the field most of the time for like third downs,
Mm-hmm.
and he still looked really good. And so once he gets healthy and gets like a full complement of snaps,
I mean, he still had a little bit of a limp. Like
yeah.
he's definitely not 100% healthy, but I don't think it matters.
Oh, they got what, 10 days now off? 10,
Mm-hmm.
11 days now until their next game. And I believe there's Sunday. Yeah, no, not the Sunday night game, but
It's Sunday at noon, I think. Either
It's
way,
Sunday 3:25 next week. But yeah, either way, he looked good, man,
yeah.
and he was killing it. And I was like, wow, should have played him, but I didn't. So whatever.
I would say though with Cup was a little bit worrisome where he had one catch, I think,
Yeah,
3 targets, one catch. He had a touchdown, which saved his day, but uh,
he had
Stafford
like
just didn't look his way.
five. He had like 5 catches for 51 yards and a touchdown.
Cup,
Cup did, yeah.
I thought he only had one catch.
At like halftime. He had a few
Oh,
more after half.
oh, I swear to God, I only saw you at 10 points.
5 for 51 and a touchdown.
Oh God,
Eight,
what
eight.
game was I watching then?
I don't know.
8 targets. Granted, I didn't watch the full game, so that doesn't help. But I swear this
Yeah.
morning. Anyways, he turned out to be fine. So don't listen to me. What do I know? As far as the Vikings, JJ and Darnold are fine. Aaron Jones, all three of those pretty much starts every week. Nothing else. Addison, you can't trust.
Right.
Hawkinson might be back next week, so we'll see. But Oliver, Munt, Jalen Naylor, Ty Chandler, anything else in the Vikings is just worthless. And honestly, the Vikings offense is going to take it's going to be rough sailing without Christian Darrisaw, who was announced out for the year.
Yeah. Probably one of the best left tackles in football. Tears his ACL and his MCL. So that's going to be a big loss for the rest of the year for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the second major left tackle to go down because Andrew Thomas went down a couple weeks ago.
Mm.
And he's out for the year. So,
jeez.
Who are these teams playing next week, Ron?
Minnesota gets Indianapolis at home against Anthony Richardson and the Colts. So hopefully the Vikings will have a bounce back week next week. And then the Rams will be at Seattle. That should be a good scoring fest out in Seattle with those two teams lined up. And then next Thursday's matchup is New York Jets versus Houston. New York Jets get another primetime game. Don't know how. They suck, but whatever. They get another one. So, and it's I think it's in New York, so maybe that might help them. But Aaron Rodgers versus C.J. Stroud next week. So
old man versus the young buck.
Yeah, very true.
You ready to get into the starts, though?
Very true. Let's do it.
Who you got for your first quarterback? Or your only quarterback, I should say.
Yeah, my quarterback is actually the same one you had last week. Kirk Cousins going against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay looked very vulnerable last week against Baltimore. Baltimore doesn't really have like a whole lot of good receivers, but obviously we know how good Lamar is, and kind of the opposite for Atlanta, where they have a lot of good weapons in there. You know, Kirk is Kirk.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he has a big game. I think it'll be high scoring, even though Tampa Bay lost Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, they still have some other weapons to use.
They'll still put up some points.
McMillan, yeah, McMillan and Palmer will probably step up. Otten will probably step up. Rashad White will be a weapon out of the backfield for them. So yeah,
I can't complain with it. I mean, it's got a very high over under, and Cousins should have to throw the ball at least 30 times. So
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
the only thing, yeah, hopefully Tampa Bay. I one of my starts of the weeks is another Atlanta player, so we're thinking alike.
Mm-hmm.
My quarterback of the week is kind of a surprise, I'd say. It's Jameis Winston going up against Baltimore, who gives up the most passing yards per game and the third most fantasy points against quarterbacks. We've always known Jameis as a player who will air it out,
Yeah.
and he's not afraid to sling it. They could get a little bit more running game with Chubb back, but yeah, plain and simple, he's gonna throw the ball. He still has Njoku, Judy. I think Tillman is a huge sleeper this week, but biggest reason is they're gonna be down, and the Baltimore Ravens pass defense is just terrible. So if you need a stream, go ahead.
I was saying Humphrey was hurt last week.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard any news about whether he's coming back or not, but he's their best cornerback.
True.
But yeah, I mean, they got Baker shredded them last week too. So
Yep. And I could see them bottling up Chubb a little bit. Like, he's not going to have a 100-yard game. So the only way they're going to move the ball is with Winston. And so, yeah, if you need a stream,
agreed.
Jameis Winston.
Mm-hmm.
Who's your running back, though?
My running back start of the week is coming off of a breakout performance last week against New Orleans, and he gets another favorable matchup this week. That'll be Javonte Williams versus Carolina. Carolina has one of the worst run defenses in football. They're banged up on offense too, with Bryce Young starting, no Deontay Johnson, so Carolina might not be putting up points. They don't really put up any points when they are healthy on offense. Denver's looked pretty good, and Denver has one of the best defenses in the NFL right now too, so I think they're going to get up early and they're going to be running Javonte down the throat of this defense. And I bet he gets over 20 touches and 100 total yards and another touchdown this week.
Yeah, I hope so, because I got a couple shares of him this year, so be okay with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we all know when teams are up, they run the ball a lot, just like last week against New Orleans. So
Yeah.
coming off a big game, I like that pick. My start for running back is somebody who's been struggling a lot lately, but he's got a favorable matchup going against Dallas, and that's Jordan Mason. I wasn't sure about this one because Jordan Mason is viewed as, I don't know, probably a top 15 back for most people, but just
He's been playing as it.
yeah, but because he's had 3 straight weeks under 10 points, there could be some people questioning if they can start him. Well, Dallas gives up the 5th most rushing yards and the 8th most fantasy points to running backs. They're missing Ayuk, and Debo he's questionable. So if both those guys don't play, they're going to have to rely on the run game more, which Dallas they can't defend the run. It should be a somewhat close game, so they're not going to have to abandon the run. And he's their only goal line back. So if they get close, with Debo, Jennings, and Ayuk out, their only goal line options are going to be Kittle and Mason. So he's destined for, God, at least 12 points, you would think. Hoping for 15.
I think they got to feed him at least 20 carries this week with how banged up they are.
Yeah, no McCaffrey still. So,
Mm-hmm.
and they need
Yeah,
to
he's not expected back until at least week 10, maybe even longer than that.
correct. Fire him up. Who's your wide receiver?
My wide receiver this week is JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba versus Buffalo. Metcalf is doubtful this week, and I think JSN is the one that's going to step up. Buffalo's got a pretty good offense. They score a lot of points, and I think Seattle will need to pass a lot to keep up. And I think this is, one of those games where you got your top wideout out. You need somebody to step up, and I think that's going to end up being JSN this week with Geno. Geno, I think, is one of the top 3 in passing yards this year. They like to pass. And, yeah, I think, like I said, with Metcalf out, I think JSN is going to be the biggest benefactor for that injury, just because he's going to get an uptick in targets, and they're going to try to feed him the ball through the air.
Yeah, plain and simple, they're going to have to score points to keep up with Buffalo now that they have
Mm-hmm.
Cooper. And if they get down early, which is possible, they're not going to be using Walker a ton. They're going to be throwing. So,
Right.
JSN is, as of right now, with DK out, their number 1 wide receiver.
Right.
I like it. My wide receiver goes hand in hand with your quarterback. So my start of the week is Darnell Mooney against the Bucks. Tonight's all about stats, I guess, but Tampa Bay give up the 4th most fantasy points to wide receivers and the 4th most passing yards. There is a small chance that they go up early just in case Baker doesn't, he isn't great. But Mooney and Cousins should be a part of them scoring early.
Mm-hmm.
His last 7 games, there's his target share. 7, 8, 6, 16, 5, and 8. So he's going to be getting at least 5 to 8 targets, most likely.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, over-under still pretty high. Cousins should have to throw a bunch, and it seems like Mooney's their number 2. And we've seen with Cousins in his career, number 2 option has always been pretty good. So going up against a bad defense, fire him up.
Fire him up.
Just fire everybody up.
I love firing people up.
Yeah, can we fire ourselves up?
Yeah, we can.
We need to pick me up. It's Friday.
They lost, but we don't care. Yes.
Yes, sir. All right. On to the tight ends. Who are you starting, Ron?
So, a lot of people might be saying, what are you doing with this pick? But I'm going to go in, last year or the first few weeks of the season, people might see this and say, of course you're going to be starting this guy. Like, he's the best tight end last year. He's on a great offense. But Sam Laporta has been probably one of the most disappointing players in fantasy this year.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I think with Tennessee, they're going to need to use him. They're going to be without Jameson Williams for the next 2 weeks because this guy is just finding every way possible to stay off the field. And I think Laporta's going to be getting a lot more opportunities with Williams not in the game. I think Goff's going to have to look his way. This could be one of those games that gets out of hand early because Tennessee's not a very good team this year. But I think Laporta is going to help get this game out of hand. And yeah, I think it's about time we see one of those performances that we got so used to last year with him, and I think he'll finally have a breakout game this week. So Sam Laporta versus Tennessee.
So I got a question then with Laporta, because I'm in a little bit of a situation myself. I'm not saying I'm going to take your advice, but would you start Laporta without Jamison Williams or Kate Otten with nobody else in Tampa Bay going up against Atlanta? You can see who I have in right now, but I'm just curious. I think the viewers might be curious too.
Yeah, that's a good one. I kind of thought Kate Otten was a little bit more of an obvious play this week.
He is.
I think he's gonna have a better week just because of the decimation that Tampa Bay saw to their top two wide receivers last week, and after they went down, I think Kate Otten on that drive that Godwin went down had like 3 catches right after that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Kate Otten's gonna eat. But yeah, like I said, he could definitely be up here as a start of the week as well, or even like a breakout.
He might be too obvious.
But I think it's too obvious. I think he's gonna be top 2 in targets. I think him and Rachaad White might be the 2 top target getters this week for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, don't sleep on Sterling Shepard though. He's the best.
Sterling Shepard as well. Yeah. But yeah, I'd say just because of how bad. I shouldn't even say he's been bad. He just hasn't gotten any opportunities this year. Sam Laporta.
It seems like every week he just has like 1 catch. And
yeah,
luckily,
1-2 targets. I think he's got
12,
like under 20 targets in 6 games so far, which is insane.
Yeah,
for a guy that I think he had almost 1,000 receiving yards last year.
I mean, he was tight end 1. I think. What is he this year?
I want to know.
Here, I got it. He is tight end 22 this year, and I was so excited for him this year. 15th round keeper. I was like, oh, dude, I got the best tight end. He's like, that's droppable. Tight end 22. And I've thought about it.
Yeah, last year, 86 catches on 120 targets, 889 yards, and 10 touchdowns as a rookie.
Terrible. What do you do?
Terrible.
But the tight end I'll be choosing this week is Tucker Kraft versus the Jaguars. Just going to keep rambling off stats. The Jaguars gave up the 7th most fantasy points against tight ends and the 2nd most passing yards. I think Jacksonville's starting to figure out their offense, just feeding Brian Thomas. So I don't see Green Bay blowing them out like we could have seen in past weeks. So Green Bay should have to throw the ball a lot. In his last 4 games, he's got 4 touchdowns. Seems like he's starting to become a big red zone target for Love. Every week he's just gaining more traction. He's only in his 2nd year, so he's just gonna keep getting better and better. But yeah, biggest thing is just the matchup. And I thought about this one. Tucker Kraft might be too high of somebody to pick just because he's been really good. But my other choice was Otten. I'm like, that doesn't seem obvious. And I guess I don't know. I could do more research, but I like Tucker Kraft this week. He's somebody that a lot of people picked up off waivers, so I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
So, what defense are you going with this week, Ryan?
I am starting Chicago's defense versus Washington. Now I know Washington is one of the highest scoring offenses in the league, and I know Mariota came in last week and played pretty well, because I know Daniels went down pretty early in the game last week, but they were playing the Panthers, so hard not to succeed against the worst team in the NFL. Chicago has a much better defense than Carolina does. And I think they're going to shut Mariota down. I mean, Mariota's been pretty much a career backup for a reason. And I think that shows this week when he goes up against the defense that is much more formidable than Carolina is. So I'm starting Chicago's
I mean, Chicago's
defense
got a top defense
against
this year.
Washington. Yeah.
So,
Like I said, Washington has put up points this year, but without Daniels, they are not going to be doing that.
no. My start of the week is the Los Angeles Chargers going up against the Saints without Carr, most likely. No more Shaheed. Olave's playing, but if Rattler is starting, it could be bad. I mean,
Yeah.
he's got potential, but they are without their starting left guard, so could be some sacks in there. The Chargers give up the least amount of points this year at 13.8 points. So they're already just a good defense in general.
Yeah.
Now you add up a banged up Saints team.
Who has lost 5 in a row, by the way.
That too, they have been terrible. Dennis Allen,
Yeah.
I think that's who their head coach is.
Oh, yeah.
He's on
And
the
you
hot
look
seat.
what Denver did to him last week.
Exactly.
Just obliterated him.
And the Denver defense is more talented than the Chargers, but they still got some people.
Mm-hmm.
So if you need a stream, Chicago or the Chargers. Who do you have breaking out this week?
My breakout player is Romeo Dobbs, Green Bay.
I like it.
Going against Jacksonville, you were already talking about Jacksonville with your tight end start and, second most passing yards. Giving up a lot of points through the air, touchdowns. I think Dobbs and Green Bay are going to eat. I think, and I agree with what you said, Jacksonville defense is poor, but their offense has been clicking lately. And so I think it's going to be a higher scoring game with a lot of passing. So I think Dobbs, I think he has his first 100-yard game of the year this week. I think Green Bay is going to be tough to stop, which obviously I hate to say, but loving that passing offense is looking really good this year.
Yeah, no, Watson's healthy, but either way, I think Dobbs has moved up to number 2.
Yeah.
And there's a good chance Love throws for, I mean, if you told me he threw for 400 yards this week and Dobbs had 125 of it, it's totally believable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed.
My breakout is to go along with Jameis Winston, Cedric Tillman for the Browns. Last week he had a 25% target share, and with Winston in the game he had 18%, 39% of all air yards. So he's with Winston's style, I think he's going to be perfect for him. 12 targets, 8 catches on 81 yards last week. Plain and simple. They're going to be down. Baltimore Ravens defense is terrible. Tillman's he's going to eat.
Old Zeke style.
Yeah. Before we get into our hot takes, though, we forgot to go over last week's starts. So I say very
Not that I particularly want to, but
we didn't do great, but very quickly, I think we can say how well we did. Just like 2 of 5, 3 of 5, whatever, and just say the people. I mean, people can look up their box scores. So, who are your 5 players, and how well did you do?
So, my QB was Daniel Jones. He got benched in the fourth quarter. That's how terrible he was doing. Philly, they were at home. Philly had been pretty porous as a defense, but they locked Daniel Jones down. Chase Brown versus Cleveland. I definitely thought Cincinnati would be going up early against Cleveland because Cleveland's not a good team. They haven't scored 20 points all year. But that Cleveland defense is good. They kind of locked down that whole Cincinnati offense. Jordan Addison versus Detroit. He was maybe the one offensive. Yeah, I mean, JJ's always going to eat. Aaron Jones is going to get a lot of touches. Addison was not involved as much as I thought he was going to be going into a game that I figured would have a lot of offense. So those three I did not hit on, but the next two I did. Hunter Henry versus Jacksonville, and I like your tight end versus Jacksonville trend. That's kind of what I did
They
last
just gave
week
up so many yards.
Yeah, after they let Cole Kmet eat him up. Hunter Henry had a good week since he actually hit. He had eight receptions for 92 yards. I think he's going to continue to be a good security blanket for Drake May. So if he's available in your league, he might be. Tight end's been such a thin position this year. Regardless of the matchup, he might continue to be one of Drake May's favorite targets. So if he's in your league and you need a tight end, I definitely wouldn't hesitate to pick him up.
Mm-hmm.
And then my defensive start last week was Indianapolis versus Miami, and I believe they scored 12 points, and I think our threshold is
10.
10? Yeah, so
Yeah.
they scored 12 points, but Tua is supposed to be coming back this week, but I think any kind of defense you're playing against a backup quarterback, it's easy to start them knowing that offense isn't going to be clicking like it normally does. But yeah, those are my starts. I hit on 2 of 5. My other 3 were pretty big misses, but 2 of 5 is better than 0 of 5. So
our goal is 3 of 5. We can get 3 of 5 every week. That's 60%. I mean, when it comes to this stuff, it's gambling. So if you can be right 50% of the time, I think that's more than 50% of the time. That's acceptable.
My breakout was Drake May. I don't think we really have a threshold for like breakout players, but he did have 276 yards. Excuse me.
I mean, I think
a couple of touchdowns
might be more so. I think he would consider that would be a breakout.
Yeah, he had a good game.
I think
they lost, but
for me, the definition of breakout isn't like there's no clear number. It's just somebody that hasn't done anything yet that just booms. I mean, if you got somebody that's scoring 3 points a game and all of a sudden they get 15, that's a boom.
Right.
Hell, you could even say if somebody's getting 12 a game and all of a sudden they get 30, that's a boom. You know.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I think I hit on that one too.
3 for 6. We'll call it 3 for 6.
Yeah. We'll take it. And then should we save our hot takes for last, or should I just go through mine real quick?
We haven't done our hot takes for this week yet, so.
For sure. Yep, you're right. All right.
I'll run through my last week's. So I also went 2 for 5. Cousins against Seattle, he had like 9 points. Not great. J.K. Dobbins, he had like 9 or 10 points as well. So that was a miss. The one that made me very angry, because I had a couple people on bye last week in our keeper league. I started Demario Douglas. He was basically my flex. He didn't even play in the second half. He had some sickness, some illness.
He was sick, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I could see him bouncing back. So that was a miss. Dobbins, if he scores a touchdown, he was fine. But Cade Otton, he was a huge hit. He had like 19. And then the Rams defense against the Raiders, they had 23. So 2 for 5 ain't bad. My breakout was a huge dud. Jerry Jeudy against Cincinnati. So I will say though, with Winston in, he had a 35% target share. So it was he could break out again this week. He could actually break out this week. But so 2 for 6 basically. I'll let you get into. We'll do this week's hot takes, and then we'll recap last week's. So if you want to start with your hot takes.
My first hot take is I believe the Cowboys are going to take down the 49ers. 49ers were a Super Bowl favorite coming into this year. So I don't know. This might not be a super hot take. Just because 49ers might be one of the most banged up teams in football right now, coming off a tough loss to Kansas City. But I think the Cowboys, who have been pretty much mostly helped, besides Brandon Cooks, I guess they Demarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons have missed the last couple games, but mostly been healthy. But they've just looked bad. But I think the Cowboys take down the 49ers. I think the 49ers are still a better team, better defense.
Dalvin Cook is supposed to be playing this week, too.
Who?
Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook for the Cowboys?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry if I switched teams there, but to say that maybe he
No,
could,
you're good.
Maybe he could
I
help.
didn't know that. Yeah, you might be able to. So maybe it's not like a super hot take, but I usually think of the 49ers as a pretty good team, and they are favored by like 4.5 points at home. And so I saw that and saw the Cowboys, and I thought that this was a good week for the Cowboys to bounce back, especially the last time they played. They just got butt effed by the Detroit Lions. Yeah, they got crapped on. So yeah, that's my first one, and then my second one ties into one of my starts of the week with Sam Laporta. I think he goes for at least 6 catches, 90 yards, and a touchdown, and scores over 20 fantasy points this week. Finally doing something.
Yeah, showing a little
for the people. For the people that drafted him in the first 3 rounds in 2 leagues.
Oof. See, at least
and for somebody who kept him. Wait, somebody
other way.
This way?
Yeah, that way.
Yeah, this way. Somebody who kept him as a keeper in our other league.
Hey, at least it was a 15th round, so it's not like I was really much.
No. Hey, you know what? My 15th round keeper was Puka, and he hasn't played. And then when he does play, I don't even play him. So
I know in your luck, he'll be getting hurt again next week or something like that when you put him in your starting lineup.
Got your mouth. He won't. Knock on wood. What are your hot takes?
I think so. We should say these are hot takes. So the chances of them happening
to be crazy
are slim. Yeah, I think you could probably go crazy. I like the Laporta one. That's crazy based on so far, but they're supposed to be like, wow. So I have the Giants upsetting the Steelers, spoiling George Pickens' big day. So there's a couple parts to this. Neighbors and Daniel Jones have a career day, even though it's a terrible matchup. Very unlikely. It's more likely, I think, that Daniel Jones gets benched by the end of the first half. But as far as a hot take, we're going to go with it. My second one is another hot take, but I think Cleveland only loses by 4 points to Baltimore. They're expected to lose by like 9. So
yeah.
Winston and Tillman have great games. Winston goes for 300 and 2 touchdowns, and Tillman gets 100 of that 300 yards.
Okay.
I think that one's more believable. Maybe not the actual score, but I think Winston and Tillman could have good days. But still.
Yeah, Tillman had, I think I just read like 12 targets last week or 16 or something.
8 for 81 on 12 targets. And most of that was without Winston. So
right.
I think most people probably think Winston could be an upgrade over Watson. I mean, Watson's just... That needs to be studied. I know he sat for almost 2 years, but dude, he was a top 3, especially in Dynasty, a top 3 quarterback in the league. Top 5. Like, he was a young play. He was
Watson?
Yeah, Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
And then he comes to the Browns, and it's a Browns quarterback, so. But I think
dude, it's gotta be. I bet it's gotta be something with like his confidence. Like he thought he was on top of the world, the hottest S you could think of, playing in Houston,
Hmm.
and then he gets caught. I mean, allegedly. I don't want to. I don't. I mean, you have 30 women come out saying you're doing this sexual harassment stuff. It seems hard to like take that away from them. So I mean, I haven't followed it because I
Mentally,
thought
he's just drained.
I think something like that takes a lot out of you. I think that probably takes a lot of your confidence away, and like,
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know, thinking you're like the on top of the world, and then you are doing all these things to women, and then they come out saying like you're just a sicko.
what? How do you
Like it's
gain the locker
probably
room trust?
exactly.
You got
I
this.
mean,
He got this massive contract, and like, dude, if you're anybody on the Browns and you see that, how do you gain? You lose all your trust in the team. Like if you were Amari
yeah,
Cooper, like, dude, you just gave me this bum and you spent all of our money on him.
yeah,
So yeah, a lot of negatives for Watson.
yeah,
Let's go over our hot takes from last week, and we both crapped the bed, but they're hot takes.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
what were your two?
My two were that the Vikings were going to beat the Lions and stay undefeated, 31-24. Obviously, that didn't happen. They lost on a last-second field goal. It was a great game. I definitely didn't feel as bad about that loss as I did to the one that they just endured last night. Because the
Terrible.
Lions are a great team, Super Bowl contender, and I thought we played well.
It was a
I
good
thought
game.
we had, I thought we had that second quarter was terrible, but then they adjusted and played well after that. But anyways, beyond the point, Vikings lost, so that sucked. And then my second one was Chase Brown going for 150 total yards and 2 touchdowns. I don't think he even got near. He definitely didn't score a touchdown, and he definitely didn't even get near 150 total yards. But again, hot take. I thought he had Cleveland defense is good, but I thought the Bengals with the offense they have were gonna go up big, up early, and that they were gonna feed him and let him just kill clock, and that definitely didn't happen. So 0 for 2 on the hot takes last week.
I mean, mine weren't much better.
Yeah.
I'd say I had half of one of mine right. My first one was that the Patriots would take down the Jaguars after being underdogs, and Drake May would get his first victory in game ball of his professional career. Well, Patriots lost by 16. Drake May had a good game though. He threw for almost 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. So I'll give it. That's like a half almost, but it's still 0. And then
Sorry, go. I'll let you finish. I'm going to do a fun stat about that game.
No, go ahead since we're talking about it.
I was Patriot. He did good.
He did.
He was also their leading rusher that game. How many yards did he have?
17, 35.
18.
Oh,
18.
Okay.
18 yards as their leading rusher.
That's rough.
You are not going to win an NFL football game rushing when your lead rusher is your quarterback with 18 yards. Just not going to happen.
No. Yeah.
Even if it's against Jacksonville. But anyways, I didn't mean to interrupt. Continue.
No. I think that's a great stat actually, because that just shows how bad the Patriots are.
Yeah.
My next one was like, once again, it's a hot take, but epic fail. Brees Hall craps the bet against hard-nosed Steelers, gets less than 10 points. I think he went for like 27.
Yeah, he had 10 points just in his receiving yards.
Yeah, he, let's see, 26.1. So he probably had 10 points within the first quarter. Not great. So we were both over 2, like really badly. Hopefully this week we can go 2 for 2. I think that's it for tonight, though. We're live on Twitch, like we said. Ron and I are about to play some Madden. We'll be on for I don't know, multiple hours probably playing one-on-one against each other. If you wanna see your favorite team be either lose or win, you can come give us suggestions on who we should play on. Like always, like, comment, and subscribe on our videos. We have other social medias. So we have Discord, Twitch, X, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. If you follow us on any of those social media platforms, you'll get notifications on when we go live or if we post videos. Comment on any of our social medias, fantasy football questions, and we will answer them with either a comment or we'll talk about it in our video. So yeah, enjoy your night, everyone. Bros and Beers is out.
Peace out, y'all.
Subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
I'm gonna let this sit for a second so that people can see that you can subscribe.